gentlemen, Mushroom Matt here for his debut video. Just up here in the wilderness looking around for mushrooms. What do we see here? We have a good indicator of future morels. These are often indicated as false morels, aka Elfin Saddles. I'd tell you where I'm at, but I don't really want to. So we're up here today looking for King Bolete, Spring Kings, Boletus Rex Verus, and also Morels if we can find them. Anywhere you can find those false morels like that in proliferation, it's probably a good indicator it's early. Alright, back in action here. Now we're about 5,000 feet. It's June 13th, 2017. And I'm in one of my spots that I would hope would be a honey hole, but looks like we're a little early this year potentially. Got more of these guys. They sure do look handsome. And I've heard people do in fact eat them. If you would like to boil them, discard the water, boil them again, and discard the water again. Me, I don't like to work that much once I get these puppies home. I've already hiked several miles, and I'd rather find some true morels. So chances are that, again, we're a bit early for true morels, and we'll see what we find. This here is a 2-year-old fire. I don't typically disclose where I go, but an educated person with the right tools could probably figure it out with what I've told you. Another indicator that we're early is the abundance of these little brown guys here. We pickers commonly refer to them as LBMs, little brown mushrooms, most of which either have no size to them and therefore not much value, or are poisonous. So people just don't typically go after them or try to identify them in my experience. Alright, so we've kind of determined that it was a little bit early up here, but anytime you think you're early, it's always a good idea to go ahead and check a south-facing or southeast-facing hill, at least in Oregon. I know about Cali, definitely in Washington, but I'm looking around here in this burn and I'm still not seeing anything. So I would say, we're probably a week or two early. This rain that's hitting me right now kind of clouding up our camera most likely will contribute to future morel growth in this here forest. This is usually a good area, but seems to be a lot of falsies out right now. Now earlier on the trail on the way up, I happened to notice quite a few spring kings that were up and had already been destroyed by squirrels and rain. So we definitely have good mushrooms up here. I think just coming up another 1,000 feet kind of put us in the no zone. So we'll try this again in 2 weeks, see what we find. So often when we're up here, we're not even really looking for mushrooms. We're looking for good indicators, rises in the ground like this here. Kind of looks like there might be something there. There is not, in fact, this time, but typically early season, that's what you're looking for. You'll look underneath and around logs, maybe brush piles, whatever you can find, and you look for those little mounds, the little baby morels coming up. In this case, it wasn't anything good, but it's a good indicator. Alright, well, we didn't find our morels, but we did find ourselves a nice little edible here. I'm not going to pick it, nor am I going to eat it, but this is a juvenile elephant here. I couldn't tell you the scientific name here. I'll try and leave it for you later. But often fried in butter and garlic like every other mushroom, and supposedly it tastes pretty good. I myself have not tried them. But also another good indicator we're up here early. They like to come up with cooler temperatures before the morels. So again, we'll see what we find later on. Alright, so once again we found another good indicator species. These are, I believe, yellow crown coral. You can see one coming out here. These are pretty young, but these are usually a good indicator of an area where king boletes will grow. Doesn't necessarily mean they'll grow right next to them, just means the conditions are right, and chances are that if you look hard enough when they're a little bigger, you'll find some. Now, I also noticed as we go by here some witch's butter. Now, you can look it up and see what exactly it's used for, but I believe some people do collect it and use it for something. I just think they're pretty neat looking. So, let's talk essentials. When you're up here, especially in the wilderness like I am, you need a couple tools. One that'll really help is this here GPS. It also has a radio, so if you have some buddies you're with, you can contact them pretty easily, and it's a Rhino, Garmin Rhino, and every time I hit my radio button, it updates my associates with where I'm at. Now, you're probably saying, well, Mushroom Matt, you're not supposed to pick mushrooms in the wilderness, and that is partially true. You're not allowed to commercially harvest or remove any forest products. However, it's a good place for an educational video because chances are the mushrooms are going to be there if they were there at all. Now, there's a lot of people that will come up here and take the mushrooms out anyway. And like me, I like to come up with a nice pan, some butter, and maybe a little bit of garlic and fry them up here, because you are allowed to harvest whatever you can eat while in the wilderness. So, back to our tools here. What else do you need? Well, handy dandy knife. This is one I really like. It's actually a Rapala fillet knife. See the serrated action on it? Cuts right through the mushrooms, nice and easy. Very sharp also. Another important tool is your stick. This here is for popping out mushrooms. And proper identification of a bolete, if you're a rookie especially, you should stick your little stick underneath of it, pop out the bottom, and ensure that there is no vulva. If there's a vulva, more than likely it's an amanita of some sort and could potentially be poisonous. Now, one other tool, paintbrush. You can get mushroom brushes, but if you just get a standard paintbrush and trim it down, it's plenty firm enough to clean up your mushrooms. And very important, especially with boletes, because they like to come up underneath the ground. You need to cut them, you need to brush them off, and when you put them in your bag, if you do not do that, you'll get your mushrooms all dirty, and then that's not so good, unless you like eating dirt. Alright, so here we are on the way back down again, somewhere roughly in the area of 4,000 feet, and I've been seeing several of these. That is, of course, a spring king. That one there is a little played out. Any of them that wet and that are that big most likely are not good to eat at this point. They're going to be full of bugs. But it's always a good idea. Mark it on your GPS. Come back next year.